You know what's funny? I can remember a time in the past when I would have felt totally weird about saying that to anybody. And I just love each of the opportunities for the ways that I can start out these videos any way I like. And that I'm the type of person that would absolutely love getting to tell you that I love you. And if you're here and your vibes have brought you here to me, then I know that I love you? So I wanted to come on and just offer my anecdotal weight loss tips because you never know when something that you hear from someone might work for you. And just for those who have not been along for the journey since 2018, I just want to update that over. Well, let's see. What's the briefs, right? The notable notes. So, for about 8 years, I was dealing with really bad chronic pain, and I got up to being near 300 pounds, especially after my youngest son, because I had gestational diabetes with him, gestational hypertension with my oldest, and I was in a place where trying to lose weight was extremely difficult. Things were very stressful with my DM, who I was common law married to, and there was a lot of challenges. There was a lot of things that went in there. And so when Separation Mission started in 2020, I really started to put effort into myself, and there was a lot of different things going on. I struggled with the pain meds that they were giving me, weren't giving me. There was a lot of therapy I had to go through to unwind the trauma and shadow work that happened just from dealing with the ridiculously colonizer and sexist medical industry that we have controlled by big pharma. And it was during the Great Conjunction in 2021 that my back went out again, and this time worse than ever. I've got some videos up that you can go back and watch of some days that were just freaking awful before I finally started listening to Spirit and went a different direction. And now I love it. Like, that's an oversimplified version of the story. But after nearly getting spine surgery, some fusions and stuff, and different things in there, I can now say I love looking back at where my videos were. And even though I kind of look at it, I'm like, you know, it's funny. I look at myself in a different way. Like, in the past, it would have been, ugh, I can't stand old me. I can remember looking at old pictures of me and being like, I don't like my mouth. I don't like my hair. I don't like all this weight that I carry. And now when I look at it, it's like, I just love how adorable I was for not loving myself back then and not realizing that part of the whole reason that I carried so much of that weight around me was armor to try to protect myself from my own lack of self-love and the projections that I put out thinking that it was coming from other people. And what's great is when I look at it, I can feel that old trigger of I don't like myself in that, but it changes now, and it's like really what it is that I can feel the end. Just like when I've had this too, to where like if you were to send me a picture of you or another person, I'm usually very able to pick up things off of that, and I realize I'm picking up on my own old me energy, and but what's really great is I love looking back at that. And there's been parts of me, the ego parts of me, my old untrained ego that are like, ooh, you should redo those so that you don't have those up of you. You know, my hair's messy, my clothes weren't as great, I didn't feel as good vibes as me. But you know what? I still got a ton of praise about a lot of those videos. And you know what? I'm really proud that I put myself out there and that now I can look back and look at where I started, deeply in depression. And, you know, and through all the stuff that happened, Great Conjunction, I mean, we used to think I had rheumatoid arthritis, and then it was possibly PCOS, and then it was a long story. I'm not saying fibromyalgia is like not a real thing, but doctors definitely do use it to try to get rid, especially of women who are obese and experiencing pain. And we found out that actually I have osteoarthritis, and they're finding out now that it's likely also mixed in with my neurodivergence because that's a neurological thing. And so there's just different ways that my brain processes pain among other things. And what I love is like all the knowledge and the stuff that's come in, and now I realize, look at where I'm at. at. Like, I've done stuff that I was told would not be able to happen, and things that I used to feel like were impossible too. And now I can look back at me, I can be doing these videos, basically, like, knowing I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself, and I don't love looking at myself like, oh my gosh, I'm gorgeous, mwah, but I also don't feel bad about if I had a moment like that. Like, I like looking at myself. I'm really proud of myself. I've lost over 100 pounds now. And I mean, I went from somebody who could barely walk and barely do anything, and now I do a lot. I do more than a lot of people that I know, and I love that. So, that leads me into my first tip for wickedly divine weight loss is that you're likely not going to find that you get very far until you do the shadow work involved with why you haven't been loving yourself. And that's a deep journey, and I have lots of videos available that help with that, and I'm going to be making more also. But I'm not going to overdo this video with info dumping. I'm just going to leave it there. If you'd like more information, feel free to comment below or look through my videos or look up the myriad of people that provide such information on doing shadow work. Because once you do that shadow work and you start to really love yourself, and not in the ways that people talk about, like, I love myself, I'm not taking anybody's shit. No, I mean, like, I really find myself adorable, that kind of way. And, like, rather than, I gotta take a shower because I don't want to smell and people will think I'm funny, to, you know what? I love taking a shower because I love having a relationship with the water. I love that me time. I love the feeling of the water washing over me, and I love feeling how I feel when I get out of the shower. Like do things like that. Like, and that's the second thing is really revisit the relationship that you have with the things that you put in and on your body and in your mind. Because, let's keep this short and two-parter. Like, when you have, like, if your relationship with food, say, if you're in a place of, like, I can't eat things that don't taste good or that don't have a good texture in my mouth, there's nothing wrong with that, though that shows that you have shadow work to do with food, because food is meant to be our fuel source. And yes, we humans, like, we're the we're the only creatures that, like, we like to play with our food. Think about it. Like, do you know any other creatures in life that, like, put together a salad, or cook, I know that we started cooking things because it was healthier. How many creatures season things? I think I maybe recall some, like, groups of chimpanzees that do something kind of like that. And now I want to go and research that more. Though, as far as I'm aware, in this present moment, we're the only creature that plays with our food like that. And it's nothing wrong with that, but think about it. Like, so many ancient cultures that are still around today, like, their relationship with food was a sacredness, and it was about fueling their body, and it was about their relationship with the earth and spirit around them. Everything that they did was sacred, from the way they hunted and the way that they treated animals when they killed them or domesticated them, the way that they thought about food. Look, if you look at it, look back at, like, there is no lack of information about the sacred way that we have treated food. And it's funny, I mean, we were much healthier in those ways, when we had a sacred relationship with our food. And then the second part of that is look at how you treat everything else. Like, one of my favorite things that I learned from Divine Maverick, which I'm still not very good at practicing it, but I like to think about it, is think about, like, even just take the shirt that you wear. Think about, what color is it? What's the energy of that color? What's the vibration of that color? Is it orange? That's sacral chakra. And, like, is that something that your spirit feels like you need more energy of or more balance in? Or is it something, like, if you do videos or you interact with people, is it something that you feel like might be a beneficial, like, I want to say subtext, but it's like subconscious, subliminal message for them that their guides can work with? Maybe you become another person who's wearing orange, and they're like, why do I keep saying orange all day? And then, because they have an interaction with you, you're like, oh, you probably have sacral chakra stuff to work on, right? Think about the think about the different ways that you can approach what you wear. and what, like the like, and also like think about the relationship you have with your car. Do you talk nice to it, or do you yell at it because it didn't do the thing that you wanted or didn't go fast enough? When you're in traffic, do you get upset when it doesn't go the right way, or you hit a bunch of red lights, or are you thankful for the moments that you get to sit and pause, and you're thankful for the green lights, and thankful for the people that speed by and cut you off because they remind you to practice gratitude in all moments? And likewise, think about the other things that you put in your body, because a lot of times with weight loss, we get stuck in this place of like only thinking about what food we put in our bodies and only think about what beverages we put in our bodies. But think about it, like what you watch and what you listen to and what you read and the people you talk to most often are also things you are feeding your body. And because your brain and your ego mind are also a part of your body, and you are constantly feeding them various different stimuli. Even if you're meditating and going to a place of no mind, you're still feeding your mind and feeding your spirit. So like if you, and I'm not knocking on any of this stuff, everybody can like what they like, but really think about the energy, because it's an energetic exchange anytime you do any of this stuff. So if you're talking to people who are regularly in a state of victim consciousness, even if you are bringing yourself back to a state of higher vibration and out of those victim consciousness vibes, the more often you have to do that, the more challenging it's going to be to do that, at least until you're really able to really hold that. But really, once you're able to really hold it, you should be in a space where you know that you don't, like if somebody's in those vibes and you're not, you don't have to keep participating in that, right? It's the same thing with like, if you like a lot of crime shows, that's fine, but think about what that says about where your energy is, because the things we feel called to and the stuff going on around us says everything about where our vibration is. So if we're watching a lot of crime shows, horror stuff, listening to things like heavy metal, or songs that are sad or angry or vengeful, if we're watching things that are vengeful, if we're watching drama that's like high school dramas, and I'm all for YA books and stuff, so like I'm not knocking, I'm not saying there isn't in some enjoyment to it, to think about all the things that we could be enjoying and what it says when we're feeding our minds with scary stuff. When if you're watching the news or not a lot, or reading the newspapers, or you're getting into a lot of reactive arguments over various different hot topics, think about what that's feeding your mind body, your body mind, and really just look at it. I'm not saying pull out of anything, but being conscious of these things changes a lot. And you might experiment with your vibrational diet in that way, and along with your physical diet. And I mean, it worked very well for me. Like I did all the things in terms of trying all sorts of diets, weight loss stuff, physical therapies, hydrotherapies, weight stuff, all this. I traded a personal trainer for a while for his services, surgeries, you name it. I did a lot of stuff to try to lose the weight in the ways that we typically approach it. And it's not that they necessarily didn't work, but they didn't stick, they didn't stay. And it was after I started doing these tips that I'm talking about, that it started to melt away. Like I didn't have to work on it so much. Most of the exercise I've done has been gentle walking, and I've increased it to going into parks that have gentle hikes and stuff like that, and added in more swimming with my kids and stuff. But really, like, and like really going in and doing the shadow work that it took to heal things 11:11 on my clock, with my family, with myself, with my DM, with people that for me it was a karmic learning lesson, relationships, some of my DMs and some in family, just different things like that. And when I started to approach that, then things got different. The other thing is drink more water. And one of my favorite tips with that is, first thing upon getting up, drink water. If you don't have, if it's challenging to get near water, or it's too easy to go for coffee first thing, have a glass of water or a bottle of water near your bed, so that when you get up, the first thing you do is put water in your mouth, because you know what, I'm going to say research it rather than explaining it, because there are multiple benefits to it. The other thing I'm going to say is get in touch with a naturopath. Even if you keep your regular Western medicine doctor, allopathic medicine, which always makes me laugh, because you know what allopathy means? It means another suffering, which is a lot of times what allopathic Western medicine does. It replaces one suffering with another. We're even seeing that right now in stuff that's going on with how do we save people from a big disease? Here, let's give them another suffering. I don't know. And we're healing from that stuff. But get in touch with somebody who does naturopathic medicine or some of some of the really ancient Eastern medicine practices, and add that stuff in there. You can get all sorts of tests that can tell you a lot more about your body as an individual, which is where allopathy has a challenge. They kind of try to put everybody in a box of statistics, which makes sense. How they're trying to make how they've made the medical industry very fast food ish, but when you go see a smaller doctor and a naturopathic doctor, you can get different approaches, you can get more information, and you can stay away from pharmaceuticals unless you need them, and if you need them, you need them. Though there's no reason that you can't take a different approach and be more sacred with your healthcare approach, just like you can be with everything else. The other thing I'm going to say is, get yourself around people who are in good vibes about their bodies and about the way that they eat. And, they're not just, and I'm not saying don't be vegan, but I'm not saying go towards somebody that's like super stuffy, totally vegan and all about their fitness and their body, which is fine if you want to be that way. Though I have a sense if you're here with me that you'd like someone a little more balanced. Like you could be around somebody who eats meat and junk food, but they have a totally different relationship with their food. They'd have a balance with it. They enjoy the ego side of enjoying a delicious Oreo cookie or Reese's peanut butter cup, and also recognize that most of their journey with food is about fueling their bodies and connecting with the earth or others and things like that. Get around more people like that, because that will help you get into that space, and that will help you treat your body better. Anyways, it's over 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I might talk about this just because I feel like talking about this more, though please, if you would like to hear more of my thoughts and tips and things that have worked really well for me in terms of my weight loss journey and my revitalizing my relationship with my body, please let me know. I would be happy to help where I can. Until then, I love you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Mwah.